Well, just like a lot of people, you're thinking about buying SpaceX stock before the IPO. You want to get rich before everybody else gets rich. And I'm going to tell you how you can do that. You can really buy SpaceX stock right now. And I'm telling you how. The first way is by going to secondary marketplaces. A secondary marketplace is a place where you can buy stocks that are listed there because employees who had stock shares or who had options can sell these into a secondary marketplace. So not a direct marketplace like the NASDAQ, but something like EquityZen. In EquityZen you can buy SpaceX stock and other stock that are not yet IPO'd. So it's a really interesting way of already getting these shares. I must say that not everybody is eligible to buy these stocks, and there can be some restrictions regarding on how to buy these stocks. But it's a first good step on buying SpaceX stock directly. Now the second way you could buy into SpaceX is not by buying SpaceX stock directly, unfortunately, but you could buy stocks of companies that have invested in SpaceX, like Alphabet. Alphabet has invested a lot of money into SpaceX in the early days, so now they're already in a big plus, I would guess. And it's said that they already have around 6.9% of the SpaceX shares, which is a lot considering Elon Musk has 42% allegedly of the SpaceX stock. But this could be a good way into getting into SpaceX stock indirectly. Also, you get exposure to Alphabet, which is also nice considering the AI and just their normal search operations, which are really highly profitable. It might be an interesting way into getting into this company. Another way in how you could get some exposure to SpaceX is by buying ETFs. There are ETFs that have exposure to SpaceX, that have bought shares of SpaceX in previous investment rounds. Like ARK Invest has an ETF that's bought SpaceX stock. Also, Barrett Partner Fund has bought SpaceX stocks. So you can look into these ETFs and buy these ETFs, and that way you get exposure into SpaceX stock. If SpaceX goes public and the stock goes parabolic, these ETFs will also rise. Also, you get exposure to other companies, which might be interesting to you. So it's definitely something worth checking out. Now there are also other ways in how you can get exposure to the hype that's surrounding SpaceX stock or SpaceX in general. You could go and buy some companies that are related or similar to SpaceX. The idea is that the whole sector will rise if SpaceX rises. There becomes hype around SpaceX, people get excited, people want to buy SpaceX. People go looking for other companies that do similar things that might yield a bigger return, because by the time SpaceX becomes public, it will be at a very high valuation. And I don't think you can get a 10x return on your initial investment if you buy it then. The other way to do it is to buy companies that do very similar things, like Rocket Lab, for example. Rocket Lab does very similar things to SpaceX, so you can get exposure to the hype when SpaceX finally does go public, and you already can buy Rocket Lab stock right now. Another company you could buy is AST Space Mobile. This would also give you exposure to about the same things as that SpaceX is known for. Of course, SpaceX is much more than just their space venture. X is also in SpaceX, XAI. Not a lot of companies have all these different pillars. That's pretty unique to SpaceX, but you can get some exposure to the hype that will be around SpaceX. So it would be a good idea to at least look at these companies and maybe put a little bit of investment in there if you're interested into SpaceX. Now the fifth possibility to buy SpaceX stock directly is before they really IPO, but when the launch date is announced, you could buy these via things like SoFi or Moomoo. Companies like SoFi or Moomoo give you the chance to get a pre-IPO request in and to buy these stocks in advance. They have done this in the past, and it might be possible that you could do this also when SpaceX will launch. So it's something you can keep your eye out. Of course, when you buy it, it will probably be around the price that it will launch. So I don't know if it's the most interesting thing to do, but it is a way to buy SpaceX stock pre-IPO. Now, of course, the question is, should you buy SpaceX stock? Now, to me, I don't think it's really that interesting because there are rumors that the valuation that it will be offered at will be very high, like $1 trillion or something. And of course, when you invest, you always dream, or at least I dream, of Xing your return, 10x, 100x, 1000x, 2x, whatever it is, you want to X your return. You don't want 10% bigger return or a 20% return. You want a big return. And if it's already at $1 trillion, I don't see it going to 10 trillion anytime soon, or 20 trillion. I think there are better opportunities otherwise in other companies to get a bigger and higher return. But of course, if you're really into SpaceX and you want your exposure and you have spread out your investment and you want a little bit of the new thing and you believe it will at least yield a 10-20% return every year, which is really nice, don't get me wrong, you might want to look into these things and buy some SpaceX stock, buy in any ways that I said before. Of course, if you want to buy into OpenAI or Anthropic or any other company, I also made videos on how you can buy into these other companies. It's pretty similar, but some have some minor details that are different than buying SpaceX stock. So it might be interesting to look at these videos. If you're interested, you can also like, subscribe, and look out for future videos where I talk about these companies. See you next one. Bye.